Well, hello, good evening, and welcome to the eCommerce Podcast live recording. That's right. This evening, we are doing a live stream of our podcast recording. Okay, so if you're watching this, a big warm welcome to you. My name is Matt Edmondson. This is the eCommerce Podcast, and it's a show all about how to help you grow your online business. Now, as we do these podcast interviews, I've started to broadcast out the interviews on YouTube live tonight. So that's going out where you're watching this, okay? And we literally are going to record the podcast in one take from beginning to end. And so I just wanted to pop in here and say good evening to those of you who joined. Do say hi in the comments. It'd be great to know where you're watching from and all that sort of good stuff. Whatever questions you've got, put them in the comments below and we will get round to them. But yeah, so that's basically what's going to happen. I'm going to play in just a few seconds here the intro to the podcast. So you're going to see another intro. And this is just basically the podcast recording as it's going on. So hang around for the intro and then we're going to hit it properly. So hope that all makes sense. I will see you in, I'm just looking for the button here on my control panel. Here it is. State-of-the-art technology. Right, so like I say, I'm just about to roll the intro for the podcast. Then we are going to get into the live recording with Rytis in just a few seconds. So here we go.
Welcome to the eCommerce Podcast with Matt Edmondson, a show that brings you regular interviews, tips, and tools for building your business online.
Well, hello and welcome to the eCommerce Podcast with me, your host, Matt Edmondson. This is a show all about how to grow your online business. And every week I get to talk to amazing people from the world of e-commerce. And I get to ask them all kinds of questions about what they know. And more importantly, how's it going to help me run my own e-commerce business, right? The question we all have in the back of our heads as we listen to the show. Now, today we have a very special guest in, and I don't know if you've ever heard the phrase Omnichannel. If you've been around e-commerce for a while, you have heard this phrase. What does Omnichannel mean, right? It's just one of these words that people throw out at dinner parties. Yes, I'm into my Omnichannel systems. And you're just like, whatever. I don't know what that means, right? And should you even care? Right? Especially if you're just starting out in e-commerce, should you care about omnichannel stuff? Does that sound like something, that the big boys should do? Well, in today's show, we have Rytis Lauris joining us. Now, Rytis is the CEO of Omnisend, and they specialize in this whole thing to do with omnichannel marketing. And he's going to help us get into this whole omnichannel idea, let me tell you. He's going to bust some myths wide open and, yes, explain why we should be using the tactics he's going to talk about in today's show, whether you are just starting out in e-commerce or whether you've been trading like me, for donkey's years, right? So no pressure, but I think tonight's going to be a bit of a masterclass in e-commerce marketing. So do grab your notebooks if you can. You are definitely going to want to take notes. But if you can't, if you're driving, if you're in the car, whatever you're doing, if you're watching the live stream, be assured that all of the notes from today's show will be available as a free download, as always, on our website. Just head on over to ecommercepodcast.net/53, because this is episode number 53 of the e-commerce podcast. So ecommercepodcast.net/53, and you can download those free and without cost to you. And all of the links to Rytis and everything he's going to talk about tonight, we will also put in those show notes. So have at it, go over. Now, that was a big build-up, right? So without further ado, let's bring on tonight's guest. Let's bring on Rytis, and we've had to change our technology systems a little bit tonight, so I'm hoping it's all going to work. So if I press this button, yes, we can see you, Rytis. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Matt. Yeah, thanks for being really adaptable and changing our technology systems at the last minute. It works now.
No. Thanks for persevering. It's good we work in IT. We can make these things work, right?
Yeah, although sometimes when we have too many technologies, as we will be talking about omnichannel, so really sometimes not that easy to mingle different technologies, tools, channels, whatever. But as you introduced today, we're going to cover a little bit of how different channels could help you run your e-commerce business. So definitely really looking forward to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, you and me both. Thanks for joining us. Now, Rytis, listen, the first thing that people are going to notice if they're tuning in is the way you say technology. You've got a bit of an accent, right? So whereabouts in the world are you right now?
Yeah, a bit of accent. Yeah, that's true. I believe you're going to hear more words with an accent now. So not technology only. Yeah, so I'm Lithuanian, and I'm currently based in Vilnius, Lithuania. Yeah, before the COVID era, I was traveling a lot. I used to live in London for a while and spending a lot of my time in the United States, as the vast majority of our business is actually in the US, but we have R&D center here, and I'm born here, so kind of just for the COVID, I stay here, and yes, the accent is coming from Central Europe, Lithuania.
Okay, now this may be my ignorance, Rytis, but in my head, Lithuania in winter is going to be a cold place to be. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. It's snowy. I mean, it's not that bad. It's not like super freezing, but yeah, that's definitely below 0 Celsius, and snowy winter. So, but the more snow you get, the better you feel, because at least you have some white space outside, and it's a bit brighter comparing to British winter sometimes, when it's all cloudy and rainy. So it's it's
absolutely
not that bad, I would say.
No, not at all. It's I was talking to somebody the other day about this, and the winter that we've had in England, and we're in Liverpool, right? So such is the wonder of technology. You're beaming in from Lithuania. I'm sat in Liverpool, and this is going out to a worldwide audience. And you're like, it's just incredible. But all that said, we had a 2 weekends ago. We had our snow for the year. It seems we had what I would call a light dusting of the ground. It came, and 2 days later it had gone. We had like half an hour for the kids to get out on the sledges. That was about it. So I'm slightly envious of your snow. I'm not going to lie.
Cool. There are always upsides of everything. So it's just a perception towards the situation you are currently having. So
that's very true. Very true. Now, Rytis, you say you've done a lot of traveling. You've got a lot of clients over in the States, in the UK. You've been living over here. What is your story? I mean, how did you get into Omnisend? How did you get into this whole email marketing type thing that you're in now?
So Omnisend as a tool is just a spin-off from digital marketing agency. So back in the days, I used to run digital marketing agency as developing everything digital for the customers, and basically selling human hours and creativity. And some of our customers were selling online, and the product, which currently is Omnisend, was launched 7 years ago. Very first version, which was very basic at that time, but we've launched 7 years ago, and we saw that those who do sell online, they have a unique opportunity to better market to their customers. The reason for that is because they have way more data of their customers' behavior, and they, from the very first touch point, the very last touch point, all the way to conversion, they are digital. The entire journey is digital, and therefore you really can analyze your customers' behavior and build better segments, better automations based on their customers' behavior, not on profile data, not on demographic data, which is not always the case to build the best solution. So that's where we kind of saw the opportunity. And back in those days, there were no kind of focus in email space. That was only email at that time, and we launched email service provider specializing on e-commerce. And since then, we have never changed this. We from email went to Omnichannel, adding text messages, adding push notifications, even Facebook Messenger, which we deprecated after some time because it didn't prove itself as an effective channel for e-commerce merchants. But what never changed our belief in e-commerce and the focus, as we provide the service, and we empower e-commerce merchants to really work better communicate with their customers. So
how long has it taken for you to sort of get from where you were to where you are now? How long have you been playing around with this?
So 7 years. So initial kind of 7 years. Initial couple of years was really, as I believe for any business, although it was a spin-off and we had already running business. So we had a team, we had developers, which really helped a lot to launch the first version. But but really, as I believe for any business, and especially those who are just thinking or maybe just launching their online stores, it's about just understanding your customer, and that's what we learned ourselves as well. For initial 2 years, we had quite a good traction, but the churn was massive, and we didn't really understood at that time, like fully, what actually are the needs of our customers, online merchants. And only, I would say, after a couple of years of experimenting a lot, talking to your customers a lot, and reading their reviews and all those things, getting a feedback, accumulating it, and we start understanding where we can create the value for our customers. And then, like I would say, 2 years of experimentation, and then 5 years of really kind of proper running a business, which is I would say a decent business already. Tens of thousands of online stores are using us globally. As you have already mentioned, vast majority of our customers are coming from the United States and Canada. UK is a very important market for us as well. Australia, and then it's long tail. We at least have one customer from 130 countries globally. So it's really worldwide, and anyone who does sell online and who does understand English and is comfortable using English interface, as our tool is in English, so really can utilize us. Doesn't matter which platform we're using. With like Shopify, with BigCommerce, with WooCommerce, we have really seamless integration. So just click to install and click to connect.
So you've made it super easy then for people to use the system.
Yeah, exactly. It's very easy to start using, and our goal is really to bring to like small and medium level online merchants. So I mean, small and medium-sized online merchants, like super easy to start using and benefiting solution, but robust enough once you grow to really utilize more and more of the tool. So we have a lot of pre-built best practices, even like templates, even with a copy and some default images, which you can start using just straight away with one dongle click. If you are willing, of course, you can segment, you can run way more sophisticated campaigns, automations, and then combine different channels as well. So that's the idea, and we'll continue going this path, just really empowering. To what you said in the intro, is Omnichannel just for like big guys, or is it for everyone? Yeah, so that's our mission, is really to bring those capabilities of like marketing from big guys to the mass for
to
anyone.
To
anyone mainstream thing. So that's the idea of Omnisend.
So you called it Omnisend, and for those who are listening that have heard this phrase omnichannel, but really don't know what it means, what does omnichannel mean, and what does it mean for an e-commerce business?
So I would provide two different definitions here. One is which is original definition of omnichannel, is really the one that ability for your customers, for shoppers, to buy at any channel they are preferring anyway. I mean, in store, on your online store, maybe on social media, maybe via text messaging, just chat conversation, or maybe once contacting your support on phone, where they can complete. So this is the omnichannel, that your customer, your buyer could purchase the product they are willing to purchase anywhere, and at the same time they can return anywhere, like purchasing online but returning to your physical store if you have one. So this is omnichannel, like original phrase of commerce in general. And we strongly believe, like fundamentally, that if you're running a store now, that's definitely what you have to be looking at. And I was kind of estimating that like 12 months ago, I was still estimating like 7 to 12 months, that 7 to 10 years, it will become a default, how we imagine. There will be no e-commerce or online commerce. There will be just commerce, retail. I don't know which word will describe it, but it will be omnichannel. And what happened, COVID, I believe, accelerated that a lot. And we see among our customers that those who were kind of just traditional brick and mortar businesses, stores, they really start going online. And those who had just online presence, they are looking for other solutions, how people can return things, how people can fit things, if it's clothing and maybe not that comfortable to buy without fitting and all those things. So really creating experience rooms and showrooms and all those things. Yeah, so that's original definition. And what is omnichannel marketing, which is kind of a copy from the original definition. So if there is an opportunity for our customers to purchase, to return, to experience our products at any channels, we prefer doing that. So marketing should be following this trend, and we as a marketers, as a merchants, we have to offer them the best channels they prefer, their most preferred channels for us to communicate with them.
Okay.
So our customers should be capable in choosing if it's email, if it's text messages, it's push notification, any other channels could be like added in the future, whatever appears. I've mentioned we've tried out like WhatsApp, we've tried out Facebook Messenger. Those channels didn't work, but I have no doubts there will be other channels in the future. Yeah. So basically the freedom for our customers to choose the most preferred channels for the brand to communicate with a customer.
Okay, so that's great. I think it's a really helpful definition that actually omnichannel marketing is about communicating to your customers in the channel which they prefer, whether that's email, SMS, push notifications. I'm intrigued why you say that Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp didn't really work. I don't know if you've sort of got any insight into that.
Yeah, so mainly because of the Cambridge Analytica scandal, I would say probably that's origin.
They screwed everybody up. Yeah.
We screwed, and after that, like really, Facebook, which WhatsApp is being owned by Facebook, is really became like super suspicious about everything, and then super aware of everything, and they kind of limited a lot. But basically, to run promotional campaigns and proactively outreach to your customers, you have like 12 hours window. That's it. So it's still okay for support, let's say, and for upsells or cross sells once a customer initiates the conversation, but not the way around. When you as a brand have a message to deliver, you cannot do that basically. It's so limited. Only 12 hours after they opt-in is valid. Yeah. So nothing in comparison to other channels, which is valid until they proactively opt out or
that's such a good point. And I think it's probably just worth emphasizing that again with Facebook and with WhatsApp. It's great for customer service if you've got a chat going on, isn't it? And you've got that instant chat. But that's where a customer contacts you. And what you're saying is according to Facebook's rules, you have 12 hours, a 12-hour window to communicate back to that person. And so it's if they contact you on a customer service basis, you can use it. But in terms of you marketing to them or communicating to them, the chances are great that they've not contacted you in the last 12 hours. So then Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp are not necessarily great channels because they don't allow you to do those broadcast messages anymore. They used to at some point, didn't they, in the past, but they've stopped that service now.
Correct. Yeah, they used to do that, and it was kind of like we seemed it like as a really potential effective channel, like back in the days, before they kind of restricted a lot and introduced this time window, 12 hours and all of those things. Yeah. So they used to, but as I said, and I was not kidding about Cambridge Analytica. They were really became super aware of everything, and even just too much sometimes.
They were quite rightly under the microscope, as they say. They were quite rightly under the microscope. That's brilliant. Listen, if you are watching the live stream and you've just tuned in, we have special guest tonight, Rytis Lauris, and we're talking about all things omnichannel marketing. We are just getting into that. And so you're welcome if you're watching us on the live stream. If you're listening to the audio version, do check out our Facebook page and our YouTube page. You can subscribe and just come and join in the live stream and get to ask your questions of our guests too. So why not? Now, oops, I'm just nearly knocking my computer off this. So omnichannel marketing then. So you talked about the 5 channels, email, SMS, push notifications, WhatsApp and Facebook. So we've discounted for the purpose of this conversation, WhatsApp and Facebook, which leaves us with email, text messages and push notifications, right? So last week, I don't know if you caught the show last week, we had on Gabby. Now, Gabby talked about email marketing, and she was fabulous. She was absolutely fabulous. And so she was not a big fan of Klaviyo. I'm not going to lie. She just put it out there. She wasn't a fan, and there was certain ESPs that she did like, and certain ESPs that she didn't like, and it was most amusing to listen. So let's, in some respects,
I wouldn't lie. It's a great news for me. More people don't like Klaviyo, more customers we have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is kind of really our main competitor. But yeah, we admire all the competition, that's for sure. But both of us, we have unique angles for whom we are the best tool. So
yeah,
let's do it. But yeah, I mean, that's I wouldn't lie. It's a good news for me. For us.
Yeah, I saw the smile on your face. Like, yeah, you go, Gabby, you go, girl. Now, so let's start with the first one. Let's talk about email marketing. And this idea, I mean, we've mentioned it a few times in the past on the show, but I think it's so fundamental, right? Because even today, I had a conversation with a client who is going to spend insane amounts of money on adverts to go and generate traffic, Facebook ads, Google ads. But still, even with all that expenditure planned, has a really, well, let's just call it impoverished email marketing plan and system that they do. So email marketing is not dead, is it? So what are some of the golden rules, let's get into, on email marketing that you see from the data that you see with all your customers using the Omnichannel channel? What are some of the things that we should be thinking about?
Yeah, so that's a very good point. I mean, because we throw a lot of money into customer acquisition, but retention marketing matters equally or even more. And especially what we saw from our customer base during like the COVID times and the crisis times, that customers are willing more and more to buy from the brands and stores they already know, they have already experienced. They a bit more conservative in like saying buy to their pounds and dollars or euros, and that's why we kind of taking less risk to purchase from the brands they don't know. So that's why retention marketing really works, and that's what we saw from our customer base, that we were like retaining purchases they happen way more often, because we do have data not only about email marketing but about how does our customer do in general. So the first time purchases has decreased, the number of those, and the repeated purchases has increased the level of it. So, and once we talk about retention marketing, there is no other better channel than email. So that's why email is not dead. And what we see among our customer base, so it's like 15 to 30%, which is I would say healthy percentage of entire revenue which is being generated through email. And I kind of have some numbers from the Freshly Baked, which is could be found on our website and our blog, research of previous year of 2020. So we kind of really saw a huge uptick in conversion rates coming from promotional email campaigns. It grew by effectiveness of email has grown by 111%. So magic number. Wow. Yeah. So like measuring from promotional campaigns only and measuring conversion. So that's great. So the effectiveness to what I said, so because this is a retention channel and you retain customers, so it doubled. The effectiveness has doubled in the previous year, which is amazing. At the same time, what is like extremely important trend which we see in the market is really that promotional campaigns are good, but automation is really generating more and more of your revenue. Which in 2020 generated almost 30% of entire revenue coming from the email channel, with only 2% of email traffic. So that's amazing. And once we launched Omnichannel like 5 years ago, it was like 12%, I remember, etc. And now it grew to 30%. I believe it has a trend to grow. More automations you set up, more revenue you generate. And the best thing with that is that while you sleep, your marketing automation tool earns you money. So that's a bad thing.
Well, let's jump into that a little bit.
So the last just statement that this 30% is not being taken from your promotional campaigns. It's being added on top. So that's an advice for one who is still not utilizing like automations properly. Do it, please do it. I mean, if you are a beginner, if you are advanced, but maybe even in large companies we sometimes see they just run basic automation like cart to cover, let's say. It's very effective, like super effective, 34% of conversion rate, which is like amazing throughout 2020. But add other automations on top. There are plenty of those depending on your business. like vertical, whatever you sell, there are different automations which you can utilize and really increase the volume of revenue which emails generates you.
Okay, so it's really fascinating you talk about this with retention and COVID and lockdown and the changes that have happened with the effectiveness of email going higher and higher, because I'd never really thought that through. Actually, I'm more likely to buy from people that I already know, and you are conserving cash, so you tend to stick with what you know, especially if they're a small local business. Certainly in the UK, there's been this big push to buy local. And not from, companies that shall remain nameless but have just lost their CEO. Anyway, we all know who I mean.
Now, I wonder what is it?
Yeah. You talked then about marketing automations. You said, setting up your automations. Let's just be clear. What is an automation? What do you mean when you say that in relation to email?
Mm-hmm. So automation is really like the trigger-based campaigns, which is when the content and the time of sending and the audience is being selected by the tool, by the machine, Omnichannel or any other tool. Yeah. So basically you set the rules, and then once the customer triggers, so not probably, but the most popular and the most effective automation is abundant cart reminder, cart recovery, it's being called sometimes. So what happens actually, we as a tool identifies that Matt is browsing, that Matt is adding specific product to a shopping basket, and then abandons the cart. And this is the trigger. Boom. So you analyze the customer's behavior. You have a trigger. Then the content is being actual for the Matt, because the products we're putting into the email is exactly the ones which Matt was looking. And on top of that, let's say we recommend similar products or the next best purchase products, or maybe based on the previous Matt's purchases that he might be interested in those products. So that's just the most popular example of automation. So both the timing is set by the triggers, which are being based on customers' behavior. The products, the content itself is being defined by the customer's behavior.
Yeah.
The audience is being defined by customers' behavior. So that's where we increase the level of personality and the level of relevance, by far. And there are many other cases, let's say reactivation campaigns, which could be automated. So we know that Matt has purchased 6 months ago and we have not seen him again. So that's where on autopilot automation, reactivation campaign starts. Within the reactivation campaign, let's say we put some discount, either free shipping, free delivery, all those things of incentives, or let's say post-purchase campaigns where we know that Matt has purchased product X. We send a review. How did you like it? Can you evaluate us? Matt gives us 10 and we say, thank you, Matt. Could you please have a public review? By the way, there is a 20% discount or 10% discount for a next purchase, which is valid for 3 months. Then you set another automation campaign that after 2 months and 2 weeks, the system checks if Matt has used this discount code or not. If not, another automated campaign is going out to Matt with a reminder. By the way, you still have your discount code for next purchase, and it's still valid for 2 weeks. And it could be the sequence of reminders sent via email, sent via text messages, as web push notification. You can combine those different channels as well. So that's the example of automation, or a few examples of automations, which you just set up once. You think about your customer behavior, and based on that, you set up them, and they being sent out on the time when they're needed to send out to that person.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And it's such a powerful email tool, isn't it? We call the automations, the sequences, that a piece of customer behavior, and a customer behaves or acts in a certain way, triggers an automation, and you've set it up once and it's just going to do whatever you want it to do. Send this email, 3 days later send that email, 4 days later send this email. And if they've still not done anything, send them a final email or whatever it is. And some of the automations that you talked about, so you talked about the abandoned cart automation. You talked about the sort of reactivation of customer automation. What are some of the others that maybe we should think about?
So I would suggest abandoned cart the like little brother of abandoned cart is like browse abandonment. Then if the customer is browsing on our online store and even doesn't add any product to the shopping cart, we are able to identify some of those customers and send them just a reminder, you have been looking at those products. So maybe you are willing to purchase them. And by the way, there's the products which we recommend, which are similar to the ones which you were looking at. So this we found is very effective as well. So
that was browse abandonment.
Yeah, it's called browse abandonment. Yeah. Yep. Then there are kind of more basic demographically based, like birthday campaigns, which could be automated. Yeah, and a lot of like post-purchase sequences, which I still find that being underused and underutilized, like post-purchase. That sometimes, and what's the great about post-purchase campaigns, automated, whatever, automated, not automated, but automated is just way easier to run. It's that you can send even for those who didn't provide you a consent to send marketing messages. You just have to play like well with those. You cannot like advertise any other products directly, but what you can do, you can ask for opinion, you can ask for review, and it's still an interaction with your brand. Yeah, so you can't advertise because you don't have a consent and it's against GDPR, but you can send transactional emails, transactional SMSs, text messages with some encoded like incentive to purchase, like a discount. By the way, pay postscriptum, this is just a discount for a next purchase. And that's perfectly fine. You do not like you obey all the privacy regulations, etc., and you have more interactions with your brand. And if customer is overall happy with the product which you send out and what you sold to the customer, so definitely it's good to have those interactions with your brand.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's very, very good. Well, I hope you're getting something out of this so far with Rytis. We've just scratched the surface. We're just talking about email, but we are just going to take a quick 2-second break to thank this week's show sponsor, Curious Digital, and we will be right back. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back in just a second. Let me give a big shout out to one of our show sponsors, Curious Digital. You know what? I love its flexibility. It's such a great platform. You know how when you start out, you might typically use an online platform because they're cheap, they're easy to use, super accessible, but you know what? They aren't that flexible. And as your business grows, you end up moving to an agency, right? Because that's just what you do. And at some point, you're going to have this nightmare to deal with, and it can be incredibly expensive. And the thing for me that I love about KD is it will grow with you. You can start out on the platform easily, and as your business grows, then KD will adapt with you. Now, I don't know of any other platform that does all of that. So if you're in the market for a new e-commerce platform, make sure you follow the links from mattedmondson.com. Take advantage of the offers that they've got for you, and let me know what you think. Well, we are back with Rytis Lauris. Rytis, I'm looking forward to the second part of this conversation. So far, let me just give a quick recap. We have talked about omnichannel marketing. We have defined omnichannel as communicating with your customers through their preferred channel of communication. Yeah, that's right. And you can get tongue-tied with this stuff quite easily. So we've talked about email. We've talked about how email's not dead. We've broken down some of the automations that we should look at. I guess one of the questions I was thinking there was, we were listening to the Curious Digital thing sort of go around. How does the system know that I'm on the website looking at such and such a product right now? I think this is one of the big questions that quite a lot of people ask me. It's like, it's witchcraft. I was looking at this page here, and then 20 seconds later, Facebook is showing me that exact same product. What is going on there? How does that work?
Yeah, so that's a tricky part. So basically, it's still a lot of that. It's based on cookies. That basically kind of when you are subscribing to something and you are giving permissions, either you accept cookies initially. So what's the system for remarketing knows, like Facebook or Google retargeting network, etc. All those all of those networks. So we use the similar technologies. Yeah. So once you subscribe, we do understand that this is Matt. This is the particular person who is like looking now at the tool. So at the product and browsing your store. So once you subscribe on whatever. It could be like pop-ups or checkout pages. We do identify who is exactly the person. The same once you read emails, once you click on emails, it's one thing, it's really we register a click, another thing which we identify who is the person. Emails, text messages, web push notifications, etc. So that's what allows tools like ours to identify who is actually the person, and then for a certain time window, it depends, sometimes 30 days, sometimes 90 days, to really be capable to track its activities online in that particular store. You cannot, which for us as marketers and the tool developers would be perfect to be capable to track you through our different stores. That's actually the capability which Google does have, which Facebook does have, but yeah, you don't have this once talking about emails, because it's really like more sensitive data. It's really personal data and personal identifiable data. So there are more restrictions here.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not witchcraft. It's just basic common sense science, isn't it? That just kind of uses the good old fashioned cookie notifications that you see on your computer. They're basically following what you're doing. So we've talked then about email. Let's talk about a topic that I don't hear talked about an awful lot. And that's SMS marketing as a channel. Should we think about SMS? How should you go about using SMS for marketing?
Absolutely. So you not only should think, but you should be using, I would say. That would be my statement. So that's really, really, and again, like from the research, which I was already quoting because we have not only analyzed our email performance of our customers, but other channels as well. So SMS actually had almost the same increase in effectiveness by 102%.
Okay.
So which is great, and like overall conversion rate is like 2.6%, which is a really it's those are really good numbers, and it's still underutilized across the market in general. So people don't receive that many text messages as they do receive emails, and they're just the inbox placement, it's immediate, and it's almost impossible for the customer to avoid opening or seeing the content of it. So that might be kind of, some of the people might treat it as being a bit too intrusive, but what's good, and why I believe SMS kind of, I call it like renaissance of SMS. It used to be an effective channel in the past, but it was used in very spammy and intrusive way. And you just send bulk campaigns without having any permissions to do that, etc. And the customer can't unsubscribe. That's the main thing. So now it really depends on location. So within Europe or rest of the world, what do? We just include a short link, unsubscribe. So from the SMS, as all of us are using smartphones nowadays, so it's so easy on the text message. Just click a link, and it's as easy to unsubscribe as from an email. In various locations like United States and Canada, you just can reply with a word stop, and it's an obligation to immediately stop remove from the subscriber list. So that was kind of the major technological shift, as we're talking about technology today a bit in general. So that was a major technological shift which happened, and which really allowed customers to subscribe, be willing to subscribe to text messages as well. So, and the effectiveness is due to the immediate thing and all those things is really high. Still, the subscriber lists are smaller comparing to email subscribers, and that's another which I heavily suggest all the marketers to make a shift a bit, because still usually once we name subscriber, we have in mind email subscriber, the one which subscribed from our email communication, which is not the case anymore. Subscriber could be subscribed to any channel or multiple channels. So that the person who subscribed for your text messages communication is equally a subscriber as the one who subscribed with push notification or email campaigns. Or the best, what you can get as a marketer, to actually have multiple permissions from the same customer. That they have subscribed for your email, text messages, communications, web push communication. So that's the best, because then you can put different channels on the same campaigns, on the same automations. And if a person is really ignoring at that time, let's say your email communication, then you are following it by text message, and that's maybe the channel which the person is feeling more comfortable to use now. And maybe next time it's going to be different. But that's fine. And to what we talked about, Omnichannel is really about the customer and his ability to choose which is the best channel for the brand to communicate with them.
Yeah. Okay. No, that all sounds fantastic, and that makes me think, Rytis, I'm glad that there's technology that can cope with all of that, because if you had to do it manually, there's just no way, is there? There's just genuinely, it's not going to happen. Let's be real.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree. Absolutely. That's just impossible.
Yeah, it is. So if I've got this SMS channel, when's good to actually use SMS versus email? I get that with email I can send my my weekly offer or my weekly newsletter. I can send my email sequences, but what should I be thinking about with SMS?
Yeah, so I would recommend start using SMS for automations. Sometimes you can run campaigns as well as blast and bulk sending. So blast, bulk sending is okay. Then you have limited time offers, let's say. So you can play with them as well and incentivize people. This is a very limited time offer or limited stock offer, and first come, first served, and all those things. Yeah. So then, because the placement is immediate and the open is way more immediate comparing to email. Because email, we control our inbox, and maybe sometimes we read those promotional emails after a few days. With SMS, you can raise the urgency. So that's the occasion which you can be using it. Second is really what I would suggest is just as basic as welcome campaign. So when someone is subscribing to you, usually what happens, we as marketers only send welcome emails, but we rarely send the welcome text messages, which is, again, could be very effective and show that, okay, we will be sending from this particular number. That's how our text messages will look like, etc. So again, it's another interaction with the brand. Yeah. Even though you are not trying to directly convert from text message from that particular welcome message, but you have another interaction, which, it's very important because today's buyer's journey is so complicated and you need so many touch points. So you just add some extra touch points to that. Other I would really suggest using for all the ways post-purchase. Yeah. So announcements about, okay, we have dispatched your parcel. Here you can find your tracking link. Yeah. And then there's a link with a tracking code, and you can do it in two ways. First way is really just tracking code and go to whatever UPS, DHL, or whatever provider you use. Or another thing, you can use, there are tools in the market which really build a beautiful landing page with a tracking information, but some promotional material there as well. So it's just transactional text message, but if you play it well, it's not intrusive, it's compliant with law, with regulations, and you still send some promotional message in having this workaround applied, etc. So those are kind of the most effective occasions where I recommend to send text messages. Yeah. Brilliant. Over email. And subcategory of text messages is MMS. So when you attach visuals to it. So it is media rich, not that much of a media, but still you can send image. So it's very, very, very effective once you have, especially if you're selling products which have visual, clothing, accessories, and web. I mean, if you're selling books, maybe not that important, but those visual ones, where the decision to buy is being made on emotional manner, and visual is very important. So adding new collections, new arrivals, sales, and you just add the visuals to SMS in MMS format, and they have great open rates, great click-through rates, and conversions are very, very great as well for that subcategory of text messages. And is it expensive to use SMS for marketing, or are the prices
because when SMS first came out, you were like, this is 10p a go, right? Or 10 cents a go, or whatever it is. I'm assuming the costs have shot way down.
Yeah, that's true. So I would phrase that way. So it's not 10 cents, but your ROI is very good.
Okay.
So it actually doesn't matter what the cost for sending. It doesn't matter how much it earned you. So the ROI of SMS is like extremely high now. As I said, it's still like the traffic is not that high. So those who do use this channel, they really get a great return on investment. But yes, and definitely the price, it went down to 1 cent. It really depends on the country. Like country by country it varies. So for United States, let's say we charge as low as nothing ourselves, like at Omnicent. If you are going to with our Pro plan, so if you pay $100 for Pro plan, you get $100 for SMS credits. So basically that doesn't cost you anything with Omnisend, but other tools and competitors, so like as low as 1 cent per text message.
That's really interesting. Okay, so, and you're right, it's the ROI that matters, and so the ROI from what you see on SMS marketing is high. So we as e-commerce business owners should definitely be using SMS, especially if you can automate it like you can with email and merge the two things together and have them sort of join up. That makes a lot of sense to me. So the third one that you mentioned is push notifications, and let's just again start off by defining, what do you mean by push notification?
Yeah, so in the case I'm talking, so it's a web push notification. So then there is a kind of pop-up, which pop-ups once you are browsing something and really asks for permission to send web push notifications. So there are other kind of push notifications, which are mobile apps push notifications. So it's a different kind of beast. So we're not talking about that because those are mainly being used of mobile apps to provide some information, so reactivate you and all those things. But it's web push notifications, but they could be equally used on your desktop browsers and as well as in your mobile browsers. So that's fine. Like both works, mobile and desktop. So that's web push notification. This is the correct name of that channel.
Okay, so and you do see this in browsers where you're on a site and something will pop up on the screen, and so you found this to be an effective sort of marketing channel. You found this to be a good way of doing things. Again, from an ROI, is the ROI good on sort of push notifications?
Extremely good, because push notifications, more or less, it's for free.
I suppose,
like extremely cheap. So if you are using tools like Omnisend or others which have push notifications included, so basically you pay for email and you get push for free. And then as I said, in our case, we give you SMS text messages for free as well, but other tools as well. Or if you use like standalone, like point solution for push notifications only, so the prices are like very, very low comparing to any other channel. So, ROI, it's sometimes difficult to calculate.
Try dividing it by zero. It's infinity, right? It's infinity. So I'm thinking, well, I've got these three channels. I get what email is, I get what SMS is, and I'm thinking push notification is good, and I could do with a tool to do that. But of course, it leaves me with one fundamental big question, right? And maybe we'll sort of we'll kind of close here with this question, because I'm aware of time, and I think we could talk about this for hours. But I guess if I'm starting out, if I'm starting a business, I'm thinking to myself, this sounds great, Matt. This sounds great, Rytis. But how do I get the subscribers? How do I get people to sign up to my email list, to sign up to SMS, to sign up to push notification? How does that all work, right? Have you got any tips on how to build your list, or to start getting subscribers?
Yeah, so that's a question which I actually kind of get quite often from our customers. So once I speak, like run some seminars, webinars, etc. So yes, and I kind of simplified it to one sentence answer, just by asking. That's the key thing.
Okay.
To ask.
Yep.
but for permission. Yeah, so that's the key. That's where everything starts, and then really like being creative. When and how can you ask for permission to communicate? Yeah, so kind of like technologically, so pop-ups. Highly effective. Some people still, even sometimes marketers say, oh, but they are intrusive. I mean, they are popping up. Yes, you can make them intrusive, or you can make in the good way. That's, you can automate that the pop-up appears only when the visitor is visiting for, let's say, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, or maybe third page, which shows the level of engagement. And you can have one size fits all pop up across your website, or you can have some individual copy, individual visuals for that specific page or product. Let's say someone is browsing. You sell tires and mobile phones and whatever, fans. Yeah, so if someone is visiting the fans category, so show the images, and so show the copy with fans, not with tires.
Yeah.
And so that's a thing. Yeah, on checkout, once person is checking out your customer, so ask for permission to send promotional materials via email, via text messages. The same with web push notifications. Yeah, so make this pop-ups contextual, not just someone is entering your website and then immediately pop up. I have been visiting you. I have never visited before your website, and you ask me the permission to give. Exchange your personal data. Yeah, so of course I will close it out, but if you use it contextual, people are willing to exchange. And of course, usually incentives work. It does work, but there is kind of a dummy way and there is a smart way. How can you do so? What I would suggest is really to use incentives, which are really somehow relates with whatever you sell. So the bad example, I'm selling shoes, and I'm promising that, okay, win an iPad for subscribing to our newsletter.
Yeah.
SMS communication. So definitely you're going to get a lot of trash subscribers, which will never convert because they're not in shoes. But if you provide, let's say, exchange free shipping or discount for your product, or one pair of shoes, or like free consultant service, or if you do have so you can be creative, but it has to be related with your service. So that's pretty fine to incentivize people to exchange their personal data for some of the value which can provide. It just has to be related to what actually you sell, if it's product or service or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's very good. I like that. So how do you build your email list? You just ask for permission. It's as simple as that. You ask for permission at the most appropriate time for you guys. Now, Rytis, we've not talked massively about your software, and I'm just going to assume, right, if someone's listening and they're like, I need a tool on how to do this. Everything that you've talked about tonight, OmniSend is a tool that can do that and can help people. And is it a good tool for the startup as well as the multi-million-pound business as well?
Yeah, so from all the way from startup to growing businesses, we're not targeting an enterprise level customers. So if although we do have some of them like Samsung, Lego, and Unilever are using OmniSend, but yeah, our key market is really from the very beginning, mom and dad store, and all the way to multi-billion, but not enterprise, I would say. So that's where our SMB, what you could define SMB. So ourselves, we define from 0 to like 20, 30 million in GMV. So that's our sweet spot. That's where we can create the most of the value.
Okay.
Because we, as I already mentioned, we simplify things. It's just very straightforward. It's just really, the learning curve is very low, and you can start benefiting just immediately after you install. We sync your data. We have pre-built sequences, examples for you, like based on the market, knowledge and deep understanding, which we already have.
Yeah, from all the data that you've got. And and you've mentioned once and twice about your blog, so you've got a whole bunch of educational materials on there if people want to find out more about specific examples, like to do with how do I do the web notification thing. That's all on there, and all that training and so on and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And if you're okay, we can share just the link on the notes to the research which I have shared some data about, so you can find a lot of useful information there as well. And yeah, the blog, we believe we really work a lot on content on helping our customers or potential future customers to succeed with their marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the very least people should do is go to your website and sign up for your emails newsletter just to see how you do it, right? These guys are the top of the tree. They should have a good idea on how to do this well, and just sign up and see what happens. I'd be intrigued. It was funny, I mentioned that to Gabby last week and she went, no, don't sign up to my email. It was really funny.
Matt, but being honest, when you said that, actually there was a bit of doubt in my head. Are we really good at ourselves?
It's great, isn't it? It's the first question.
But I have an explanation for that. But because your e-commerce businesses were SaaS business, software as a service businesses, so that actually the way you apply the same channels is different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
you're not comparing eggs with eggs.
Yeah, exactly. So the best way actually to learn is really, let's say, to visit our blog, and you're gonna find the case studies there of the companies which really apply email marketing and text, like SMS marketing and push notification marketing very well, and then subscribe to their communication, and that's where you can really learn things which are going to be directly applicable to your business to selling online.
Yeah.
So that's what I would suggest.
Yeah, very good. That was very good maneuvering. Well done. Yeah. Done that one before.
Thanks.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Listen, Rytis, how do if people are listening, watching the show, they want to get hold of you, how do they reach out? How do they connect with you?
Yeah, so LinkedIn is my most preferred social network. So Rytis Lauris, find me on LinkedIn. Let's connect there. I also use Twitter. Not a big fan of other social networks. And of course, anytime, Rytis at omnichannel.com, so you can reach out to me via email. Because I believe in email a lot, and I use email for both, not only promotional communication, but for personal one as well.
Yeah. Email's not dead, right? And we'll put all of those links, of course, in the show notes in terms of how you can connect with Rytis. We'll link to his LinkedIn, we'll link to his Twitter, and we'll put all of that there. If you need that, you can head on over to ecommercepodcast.net/53. Listen, Rytis, it has been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I always enjoy talking about the tactics and the marketing and the strategies, and I'm just like, I have got a few ideas already. So I always talk to my marketing team on Friday mornings after recording these podcasts, and we're like, right, who was on the podcast last night? How do we implement X, Y, and Z? And they're all like, oh, here we go. It's great.
That's very good.
Yeah,
I believe, Matt, with what you said, I'm a strong believer in, if you learn something new, listening to podcasts, going to webinar, seminar when it's being like live, etc. And if you don't start applying just immediately, straight after, usually just forget it. And you get back to your routine, to the same wheel, and then you're turning back and you just never apply things.
Yeah.
So I really admire this approach. Is, you learn things, you start apply now. There is no better time than now. So
absolutely. Well, between your conversation and Gabby's conversation last week about email marketing, we've started to radically overhaul how we do email marketing now in our company, and I think it's good actually. We turn over a fair few shillings, as they say, here in the UK, and we've got a lot of customers, and I would say our email marketing has not changed in the last 2 years, and just getting that energy and that excitement to go, no, look, we can do this better, guys. Do you know what I mean? Let's just not rest on our laurels. Something that was set up 2 years ago, let's look at it. Is it working? Is it not working? Let's figure out what's going on. And so even for us who are a bigger e-commerce company, it's still good to revisit and to get into this stuff and to set it up right. Because for me, email is the primary marketing tool you've got to nail, right? If you're starting out, you've got to nail it. You've got to get it sorted out from day one as much as you can. And so using tools like Omnisend is high on my list if you're starting out. You need an e-commerce platform, you need an email marketing platform. The rest of it you can figure out once you've got those things set up, right?
Couldn't agree more, Matt. Couldn't agree more.
I'm preaching to the choir. Yeah.
Absolutely. And in your case, what you said, maybe for 2 years you have not even reviewed, etc. So I would advise really augment with other channels if you have not done yet. Text messages, web push notifications, etc. So that's a really, really great augmentation for email, which is still a core, but you can really increase your revenue, which is the main goal of any business.
Always the key goal. This is brilliant. Rytis, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate your time. Really appreciate you sharing your wisdom around these key areas. Thank you so much for being with us, and hopefully we'll get to talk to you again very, very soon.
Thanks for inviting.
No problem.
It's a really great pleasure to talk to you and to your audience. So talk to you next time. Bye.
Indeed. Thanks, Rytis. Bye now. Well, that was, ladies and gentlemen, Rytis Lauris. Now, wasn't he fantastic? I mean, absolutely fantastic. Super generous with his information there. So I hope you've been taking notes. The 3 areas which you need to look at as an e-commerce business: your email marketing, your SMS marketing, and your web push notifications. Have a look at those 3 things. And if you start deep diving into this, I know you're also going to look at things like custom Facebook audiences, stuff that, you know, is just on a whole new level, and you can use his platform to do all these kind of really cool things. But start with those basics and build up to what you need. I really, really enjoyed that. Like I say, lots to talk about with my marketing team tomorrow. So let us know what you're going to change as a result of listening to Rytis. I love what he said right there at the end. Did you capture that, Pearl? If you don't take action straight away, you may as well forget it. And so take action today on whatever you've learned from Rytis, okay? Because it's going to pack value. And maybe the first action is just connecting with him. Just reaching out to him on LinkedIn and saying, hey, thanks for what you shared on the show. Thanks for what you said about X, Y, and Z. I really got a lot out of this. Or even ask him a question. I'm sure he'll be super helpful and be willing to help you. So if you did get some good stuff out of this, I would also appreciate it if you could rate the show on iTunes and even share it out so we can connect with more folks around the world as we're all learning to grow our e-commerce businesses. As I said at the start, all of the notes, links, and transcripts, that was a hard word to say, transcripts to today's show are online, and you can get them for free at ecommercepodcast.net/53, or just head on over to the website ecommercepodcast.net and just search for Rytis and the show notes will come up. So that's all from me. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching if you've been on the live stream. Make sure you come back next week as we are going to carry on interviewing some more great guests on how to grow our own online businesses. Thanks for watching. I'm just looking for the button on my pad. Here it is. Thanks for watching. My name is Matt Edmondson, and I will see you again very, very soon.
You've been listening to the e-commerce podcast with Matt Edmondson. Join us next time for more interviews, tips, and tools for building your business online.